In this chapter, we look at things differently, like this. When you're matching the depth of countertops to cabinets, or measuring cutouts for sinks and cooktops, or when you're planning a new kitchen and need to make sure the old cabinets will come out easily, look for exposed fasteners. No fasteners, no fun. This is one time it really pays to lie around on your backside for a while.
Measure the span of base cabinets from corner to the outside edge of the cabinet. Add 1 inch of overhang if the end will be exposed. If an end will butt against an appliance, subtract 1/16 of an inch to prevent scratching the appliance. Use a framing square to mark a cutting line on the bottom surface of the countertop. Cut off the countertop with a jigsaw using a clamped straight edge as a guide. Smooth with a belt sander after cutting. Mark the cutout for the self-rimming sink. Position the sink and trace an outline. Remove the sink and draw a cutting line using the manufacturer's recommended length inside the sink outline. If the manufacturer supplies a template, use it to draw the cutting line. If you're installing a cooktop, mark the cutout using the manufacturer's recommended cutout shape. Position the metal frame and trace the cutting line around the edge of the vertical flange. Remove the frame. Drill a pilot hole just inside the cutting line. Make the cutouts with a jigsaw. Support the cutout area from below so it doesn't fall through. Attach battens from the end cap kit to the edge of the countertop using carpenter's glue and small brads. Sand out any unevenness in the edge with a belt sander. Hold the end cap laminate against the end, slightly overlapping the edges. Activate the adhesive by pressing with an iron set at the medium heat setting against the end cap. Cool with a wet cloth. File the end cap edges flush by filing toward the countertop to avoid pulling it away from the countertop. Position the countertop on the base cabinets. Make sure the front edge of the countertop is parallel to the cabinet face. Check the countertop for level. Make sure the drawers and doors open and close freely. If needed, adjust the countertop with wood shims. Because walls are usually uneven, use a compass to trace the wall outline onto the backsplash scribing strip. Set the compass arms to match the widest gap, then move the compass along the length of the wall to transfer the outline to the scribing strip. Remove the countertop. Use a belt sander to grind the backsplash to the scribe line. Apply a bead of siliconized latex caulk on the edges of the mitered countertop sections. Force the countertop pieces tightly together. From underneath the countertop, install and tighten joint fastening bolts to keep the miter from shifting and spreading. Tap the seam with a rubber mallet until the surfaces of adjoining countertops are even. Position the countertop on the cabinets and attach them with wallboard screws, driven up through corner brackets inside the cabinets. The screws should be long enough to secure the countertop, but short enough so they don't bubble or puncture the top.
Consider this chapter your step-by-step guide to do-it-yourself flooring. Step 1. Don't give up because a project requires specialized tools. Consider renting. Some places even loan them. So ask. Step 2. Use products as directed. Not too much, not too little, and never substitute. Step 3. Take your time and take it easy. If something looks odd, stop and ask.
Seal the sanded wood floor with a mixture of water-based polyurethane and water, applied with a painting pad and pole extension. Refer to the manufacturer's recommendations for the proper mixture. Let the seal coat dry, then use a medium abrasive pad to lightly buff the surfaces to remove any raised wood grain caused by the water. Vacuum the surface with a bristle attachment or wipe with a tack cloth. Apply a thin coat of undiluted water-based polyurethane, brushing with the grain. Avoid brushing the finish too much. Apply it as evenly as possible on the first pass. Let the finish dry, then buff the floor with an abrasive pad. Vacuum or wipe the floor and apply additional coats of water-based polyurethane as needed to build the finish to the desired thickness, buffing between coats. Most floors require at least 3 coats of water-based polyurethane for a hard, durable finish. When the final coat of water-based polyurethane is dry, buff the surfaces with water and a fine abrasive pad to remove surface imperfections and diminish the gloss if so desired.
When working with electricity, rule number 1 is turn off the power. These are words to live by. It's a good idea to mark the circuit so no one turns it back on accidentally. Diagram everything before taking it apart and label your wires before you unhook them. Don't be afraid of electricity, but do be cautious. The thing that'll really shock you is the amount of money you'll save by doing it yourself.
With the power on, place one probe in the short or hot slot and the other in the U-shaped grounding hole. The tester should glow. If it does not, place a probe in the long or neutral slot and one in the grounding hole. If it glows, the hot and neutral wires are reversed. If the tester does not glow in either position, the receptacle is not grounded.
Think of wallpapering as prime time. Not this kind of prime time. Prime time is in the amount of time it takes to prime the walls properly. A little preparation makes for a lot better finish. Make sure the wall is sound, that you don't have any moisture damage. If so, solve that problem before hanging your paper. And remember, a great wallpaper job is kind of like a marriage. You want a good match, and something that'll bring you joy for years to come.
Cut a slit through the bubble using a sharp razor knife. If there is a pattern in the wallpaper, cut along a pattern line to hide the slit. Insert the tip of the glue applicator through the slit and apply adhesive sparingly to the wall under the wallpaper. Press the wallpaper gently to rebond it. Use a clean damp sponge to press the flap down and wipe away any excess glue.
Welcome to the chapter on insulation and weatherproofing. Insulation and weatherproofing are good places to begin with home improvement because they don't need to look pretty to be effective. But make a fashion statement anyway, with safety goggles and work gloves as directed. This winter, take comfort in knowing you did it yourself and that both you and your home are warm and dry.
Drive a nail through the roof from inside to mark the position of the vent hole. Locate roof vents high on the roof, but below the ridgeline, and on the least visible slope of the house. Place the vent between rafters so you do not cut through a rafter. Locate turbine vents close to the ridge with a minimum clearance of 8 inches above the ridgeline. Use the nail as a center point and mark a circle with a diameter equal to the opening on the vent. Remove the shingles just above and to the side of the cutout area that will be covered by the flange base of the vent. Do not remove shingles below the vent location. The base flange will overlap the shingles below. Drive the centering nail back through the roof. Drill a pilot hole and use a reciprocating saw to cut the vent hole. Apply roofing cement to the underside of the base flange and center the vent over the hole. Nail the base flange at the top and side edges. Cover the nail holes and edges of the flange with roofing cement. Reattach the surrounding shingles. Cut the shingles to fit around the flange, similar to how shingling fits around a vent pipe.